80% of communication is non-verbal. How do you think that 80% of communication is conveyed? It is conveyed in the body, with the body, indirectly. Now, how do you read someone's body? How do you read a person like a book? Well, there are a couple of steps to like expand the vocabulary that you have in body language. Because believe me, it is a language that you can learn as easily as French or Spanish. It is such a good language to learn, but it has no dictionary. So let me just give you a couple of steps that you can apply today in the next 5 minutes to kind of read people better, notice their emotions, and maybe be a little bit more empathetic. And this is going to be borderline manipulative, a bit, I guess, but it's a Robert Greene strategy. So take that with a pinch of salt, take this video with a pinch of salt, and let's get started with the first tip. The first tip I have on here is to always focus on the face. As you can see, at this moment, I'm not conveying a lot with my shoulders, my arms, my neck, but I'm conveying a lot with my face. You can see the tension that's on my face. You can see my blinking patterns, my speaking patterns, right? And you can kind of, if you study it enough, if you watch enough of my videos, you might be able to kind of discern in what type of mood I'm in based on how I'm talking or how my face tenses up. Okay? First tip is always look at the face. Second tip is the pitch of voice. The pitch of voice. No one can hide their voice. Let me be very, very clear. Not even the best actress can hide how they feel through their voice. If you study this channel enough, if you study your mother enough, if you study your family enough, your friends enough, you'll probably also be able to tell how they are feeling on the phone. This is probably the most important tip. Pitch of voice. It is completely just indistinguishable from person to person, right? It is the most universal thing, in my opinion. Next tip, it's pace of talking. In what rhythm am I talking right now? That is the rhythm. If they slow down, it probably means that they're a little bit sadder. I don't know. They're probably trying to convey something a bit more important. And as I have not said, you can also use this yourself to weaponize it because some of this is extremely subconscious, but you kind of want it in your consciousness, and that's it. Pace of talking is really, really important. Posture, of course. A straight back is a sign of confidence. A hunchback is a sign of insecurity. Look at the posture and determine their mood very easily. Then, hand gestures. What are they doing with their hands? Now, this is kind of a bit more subjective because some people are genetically kind of doing something with their hands, right? Like this thing that I do with my hands, these gestures, I think they're derived from my parents or from my dad because he also does this, right? So it's kind of hard to deduce the specific emotions a person feels by just looking at their hands, but it might be able to kind of hint at something more. So if you want like a different level of mastery, hand gestures are the thing to study. Next up, we have positioning of legs. Now, for example, if somebody crosses their legs, that's kind of a sign that they're a bit more closed off, in my opinion, right? If someone is, I don't know, masculinely, how do I say, their legs are completely spread, they're probably a bit more nonchalant. So, kind of determine their mood by their legs, but as I said previously, pitch of voice, facial expressions, and also rhythm of voice, pace of talking, pace, are going to be your three best friends when it comes to deducing a person's sentiments in non-verbal communication. So, pace of talking, pitch of voice, and tension in face, facial expressions. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is not having too much eye contact. Because if you give too much eye contact, you will probably stress the other person out. Have you ever looked at someone's eyes and they're kind of fleeting? Yeah, that's because you're kind of intimidating them with your eye contact. So, while you're listening, my tip is while you're listening, look at them. And while you're talking, maybe do some of this, some of this, some of this, right? So you're not always looking at them, right? Because that's kind of stressful and intimidating. Next tip, determine the baseline of a person's mood. Let's say that my mood is neutral. You would want to see me how I am during during a neutral state. So when I am excited or stressed, you can see how my mannerisms are different, and that's how you get more vocabulary for me. You can do this with anyone, right? And I heavily recommend just kind of interacting with people right before great events or stressful events, because their body language will completely change and you like triple your vocabulary with that person, which is insane because now you know how they move when they're either excited or stressed. Fantastic. Fantastic thing that I've implemented. Amazing thing that you can implement right now. Then, as I said before, there is no clear dictionary for body language. Every single person has a subjective thing, right? So, my mannerisms are not going to be the same as your mother's. Your mother's are not going to be the same as your friends. So, each person needs to be studied in order to actually get their sentiments from nonverbal communication. That's my next tip. And last tip is that you should kind of remove the biases that you have with certain people. If you really, really like a person, by looking at their body language, you'll be kind of inclined to notice things that are the best, thing that makes them. It's kind of like the halo effect, which I've talked about previously. Probably there's a link in the description. The halo effect. I haven't talked about it. The halo effect because once you'll probably be trying to kind of get the best characteristics if you like them and the worst characteristics if you don't like them. You should remove all prejudice when trying to read someone, like a book. Because, yes, everyone is subjective, but in my opinion, you shouldn't really be going in with a certain mood while talking to someone. If you would have clicked on this video saying, "Oh, Elias is great. He's oh," you would probably look at all the nonverbal communication that I'm doing and see more good traits, which is definitely not, which is something that I definitely don't want you to do. You should be coming into social interaction or anything relating to people with a neutral state of mind, so you can actually interact without biases. So, to recap, pitch of voice, pace of talking, and also facial expressions. That's how you read someone. There is no clear dictionary. Don't try and, because let's say when you're decoding someone's body language and you don't do it right, that is extremely dangerous. So just keep in mind there is no clear dictionary. And third thing that is really, really, really important is let go of all of your biases during, inspection, let's say. Like and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow.